Hello everyone, this is Scarzig, and I just wanted to do a quick update video. Well, I say quick update, but I don't know how long this is going to take. I probably should have written down some bullet points or whatever, but I'm going to try to keep the ramble down. Anyway, first things first, thank you so much for all of your support. The stream has been doing great. The channel's been doing great. Right now it is the 29th of August, and we're up to almost 1,800 subscribers, and that's, again, just kind of slow growth. I got a small boost after Unearthed Prophecy came out, of course, for like all the new players who were peeking their heads in, seeing what Duelyst was all about. I'm probably going to be one of the first, results that come up if they're looking for gameplay or tips or what have you. And speaking of new players, I am cooking up a new series. You probably saw my thread on the subreddit where I was asking for suggestions about, what do new players want to learn more about. I'm making like Duelist 101 type of series where, I want to teach the new players how to play, go beyond, just budget decks and everything. Just, give them a heads up about Ironcliff Guardian and Holy Immolation and, what you can do to be more efficient in your opening turns, all that kind of stuff, all the stuff that we've come to know via experience. It's going to be great for new players to just have all of our collective knowledge, fed to them right away so they can begin enjoying the game as soon as possible. But also, the Duelist 101 series, I am actually going to be focused on recording the first handful of episodes this week, because I want to slowly trickle them out over next week when I'm on vacation. I'm actually going out of town with my wife. We've been saving up our vacation time, and, she really needs to get away, and it's going to be a great, just relaxation for me. I know it's definitely more for her sake, but that's okay, because we are going on vacation out to California to scope it out, because I can't remember if I had mentioned this on the channel or not, maybe probably on the stream. I am going to be moving out there to the West Coast here in about, I think 6 months or so. Wait, August? No, well, it's almost September, October, November, December, January, February, yeah, about 7-8 months-ish to go before I move out there, so that's going to be really exciting. But we're still getting all the details hammered out and everything. But it's a great move for me. It's a great move for my wife in terms of her career, all that jazz. And so that's what's going on with me. In terms of the YouTube channel, you've probably noticed that Darkest Dungeon has been on hiatus, and of course that is, sort of unintended. That's generally how a lot of the games on my channel tend to go, right? Is that I sort of just stop uploading them. But the thing with Darkest Dungeon is that I was playing it for the YouTube channel, and I had a separate file that I had started up to play on stream, and so that playing Darkest Dungeon for the YouTube and for the stream started to just like really wear on me. And I'm sort of fickle, to be honest, when it comes to games where, I'll really just binge the heck out of them when I'm enjoying myself, and then all of a sudden, I just can't stand it anymore. And not to say I can't stand Darkest Dungeon, but I do just need a break is all, because on both files we're actually getting, pretty up there in terms of difficulty, and it was just really starting to stress me out. Because Darkest Dungeon's one of those games that, like, you can screw up and bounce back from it, but if you screw up too many times in a row, you can like really damn yourself and like paint yourself into a corner. So I really wasn't enjoying it, because every decision and every run had like so much weight attached to it. But at any rate, Darkest Dungeon is again on hiatus. I do apologize for all the hardcore fans of that series. I know that you really enjoyed it, but we will revisit that down the road, of course. So by me kind of stepping back from Darkest Dungeon will allow me to devote some more time to Duelyst. I've been very, very slow on uploading Duelyst videos. I believe in my last update I talked about how I wanted to upload even more Duelyst content, how I wanted to, not really care so much about having a fresh deck every time. And so to combat that, it's still like a mental block for sure on my end, where I am, still wanting so badly to have like original cool stuff that I'm cooking up. But I think that I will start doubling up on decks, do like part 1, part 2, or, search through my backlog. I'm pretty sure I said this exactly the same way last time, is that I'm going to start just posting more gameplay of the same deck in order to get more videos out. And also, in my quest to generate more Duelist content, I am bringing back viewer replay reviews. This was something that I did a long time ago, and I've been getting asked about it a lot recently. And, this is great, again, just like I said, for producing more Duelist content and for giving a helping hand to new players. Sometimes a newer player, I would say, is more prone to say, oh man, how do I play this matchup? What improvements can I make to their deck? What improvements can I make to my deck? And they don't really, or I should say, are unable to examine their own gameplay, right? Especially when you are new, you know that you're making mistakes, right? I think that a new player who isn't completely blinded by hubris would know that they're making mistakes somewhere, but they're just too inexperienced at the game to understand where those mistakes are exactly. And so a viewer replay review, again, not only allows me to, produce more content, keep up my my casting chops a little bit, but it also gives them, an outside view about their gameplay. Because even when I post videos on YouTube, right, when I'm posting my gameplays, people who watch those will always point out my mistakes to me, like, oh, actually, if you moved here or did this instead, then you would have set up lethal, that whole thing. And I always encourage that. Don't think I'm going to get offended if you point out a misplay that I did in one of my YouTube videos, because that makes me stronger. That gives me strength, right? And then the next video I'll go, oh, actually, yeah, I should be thinking more about setting up a 2-turn lethal here, or I should hold on to this removal because I replaced it last time thinking I wouldn't need it and I got punished. So, I mean, thank you guys for, keeping me on my toes when it comes to that. But anyway, viewer replay reviews are coming back. And the reason I had stopped them last time was because I had gotten so inundated with requests that I just fell so far behind and couldn't even keep up with it anymore. But I do have a new, a better system in place that's going to help me come up and keep up with those a bit more consistently. So I lost my old list that I had from way back in the day of people who were scheduled for a viewer replay review. So if you recall that if you were on that list and I never got around to doing your viewer replay review, go ahead and give me a shout out and I'll make sure to get to you first. But I will be setting up a submission channel on a Discord server. Building a Discord server was something that I've been dabbling with and been fiddling around with for a while. So it's still, I should probably just open the damn Discord server, right? Because knowing me, I'm going to want it to be perfect. I'm going to want to have all the channels and little bits set up and in place before I open it to the public. But I think it's better to just get people in there, get people chatting, get people giving me feedback, submitting their viewer replays reviews, and then we can build as I get feedback and get some advice from people who understand Discord servers a bit more and running their own Discord server. So I think that is really going to streamline the submission process for viewer replay reviews, because what would happen is you can only send a friend request and have them accept it right when they're online. And so I would have to have somebody drop me a YouTube comment, or they would have to wait until we were both online at the same time. And so by opening up the Discord server, somebody can just send me the request in game, send me a message on Discord essentially saying, hey, I sent you a message, I sent you a friend request, this is my Duelist in-game name, and this is the match I'd like you to look at. And so basically getting that quicker instant feedback will allow me to get on the replay reviews right away, rather than having that weird lag time in between somebody requesting the review and then me needing to get all of the info together. So I suppose that's another big announcement for the channel as well. So that's going to be really exciting. Furthermore, I am looking forward to Artifact, the new Dota 2 card game. I know that I've been mainly focusing on Duelyst and Shardbound, but Shardbound is like in a weird, like transitory state right now where the game is just chugging along in terms of development, but they're still trying to work out a lot of balance kinks, and because of that, Shardbound isn't as enjoyable. It's still a great game. It's just that the meta is fluctuating so heavily from week to week that you end up getting like really roasted, right, by a lot of crazy decks. I mean to say it's like this because Shardbound is so technical. Um, how do I say this? When a deck gets an edge in Shardbound, it's they can abuse that so heavily, right? It's very, very hard to build in a direct hard counter to a deck in Shardbound because it's based so much around tactics and your movement and thinking ahead in lines of sight. Where Duelist, you have a bit more released valves in terms of, oh, I have Superior Mirage to counter late game rush minions, or I have Blood of Air or Dispel, right? Or Mage Sworn is another good example. Like we have a lot of like actual counters in the game, but Shardbound comes down more to matchup knowledge, playing around what your opponent is setting up for, right? And so basically in Shardbound, if a deck gets over buffed where the meta shifts a certain way to favor one deck, it tends to become S tier, where there's nothing that like directly hard counters them, and so they get to basically just play down at people. I know that's kind of hard to explain, but they're just sitting on, basically they're sitting at the advantaged position, just throwing all of their OP stuff down at people, and all the other decks have to like really struggle to keep up with that because they aren't countering you again through just powerful mechanics. They just have like just that extra edge that allows them to abuse like the board and like how the flow of the game is in Shardbound. So I do apologize to those who were looking forward to more Shardbound content. I pretty much have realized recently that focusing on Duelist is the correct path for me at the moment, especially right now with so many, again, new players sort of floating in limbo, needing new content, because this is like really where I've made my name, and I really owe a lot to this community. So I do thank everybody for their continued support, and I am looking forward to giving more back to the Duelist community. And speaking of focusing more on Duelist, I am also going to be focusing more on my stream. I talked about this a while ago, back when I set up like my stream schedule, and I've been like doing YouTube plus the stream. And going into streaming, I'm glad that I started out slow. I was able to kind of really get a feel for it, get settled into the routine, and streaming, I've just been absolutely enjoying it. It's been blowing my mind, how enjoyable it is, like interacting with everybody in real time. I've got like a handful of regular viewers now that are always stopping by to say hello, and I mean, you guys are the best. But I am looking to start streaming a bit more, simply because I am trying to make a legitimate effort to become, a solid like full-time like content producer and streamer. And so that means I can't go into Twitch half-assed. I managed to, right out of the gates, again, get my Twitch affiliateship, but that just opens up options for emotes, access to more varied monetization methods. But there are certain opportunities that are only available to Twitch partners, which is the next step up. So I really need to go hard in the Twitch game if I want to become a Twitch partner. And so I'm going to be focusing a lot more on streaming. We're going to be playing more Duelist on the stream, because that does give me like the highest amount of viewers, and that's where I'm just really trying to centralize my focus right now. We're going to be playing, I did recently start a Dark Souls 3 run as like a weekend game, because originally I would do like Duelist plus something else during the week, and then like just a third like chill game on the weekends. I would just play something random like Ori and the Blind Forest, Monolith, that kind of stuff, or maybe I'd sneak in another day of Duelist if I really felt like it. But I have been trying to keep my weekends free, simply because things were still really up in the air in terms of like Duelist tournaments, right? Because back last year around this time, I was casting the Duelist Pro League, right? The counterplay games like sanctioned pro circuit for tournaments, and that was like taking up my weekends, and that was super enjoyable. And I was, I guess, sort of just holding my breath, right, seeing if there was going to be any new developments on that front. I figured it would be delayed because after the Bandai Namco partnership, they had to, get everything settled after that, plus the expansion release, and then they had the whole fiasco with the region blocking, and I didn't think that was going to get sorted out as quickly as it did. I know definitely it wasn't as quick as it could have been or as quick as some would have liked it to be, but it is settled for now. But what I've come to understand is, well, not that's the wrong way to put it, because that makes it sound like I'm privy to like any sort of inside information. But what I mean to say is, it's not looking like there's going to be another DPL like pro circuit coming up, which basically means I don't need to keep my weekends free anymore. So look forward to more hardcore streams on the weekends. Since I'll have those days off and I'm not going to be working, I'll probably be able to put in like some like long streams. Right now, I'm pretty much limited to 3.5 hours, I think, is like the longest I've been able to stream, simply because after I get off of work, eat some food, get set up for the stream, I basically stream that last block of time before I have to go to sleep because I work at 5 a.m., right? So it's like, hopefully on the weekends, again, I'll be able to fit in a longer stream, especially Friday into Saturday. I'll be able to just do like some longer hardcore streams. So look forward to that. Possibly not Dark Souls 3. I did really enjoy it, though. I streamed, I think, like 3.5 or 4 hours, and that was definitely a really solid session. But Absolver is now out, which sort of focuses on it. Basically, it takes the PvP aspect of Dark Souls and balances that into its own game. Dark Souls PvP was always like an end game thing for players to do. Everybody who's already like beaten all of the solo content, right? Main storyline and all that, and has like this really buffed up character. You take that character into PvP. Absolver is a martial arts based, third person brawler with some RPG elements type thing like that, but it's like its own thing, and it's focused right into the PvP. You like create your own martial arts style. And I've been, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I was like super hype about the game when it was like announced and like all the early trailers, and I was privy to some of the early builds of the game, and it's finally released. So I'm really excited to get my hands on the final product. So look forward to some more Absolver gameplay. I don't imagine it's, I mean, I suppose we could maybe try it out for YouTube, but I feel like it's definitely more of a streamer-friendly game, right? Which is one of the other things where like I could maybe upload Dark Souls to YouTube as just like a VOD, like, clip down the stream and have that as just like mega-sodes, as I suppose they're known, where it's just like a big 1 or 2 hour like YouTube video that you can watch in pieces. So those are just some of the new games and like things I've been fiddling with so far on the stream. But again, I'm really looking forward to like this next step. Going to California is going to be a huge thing for me. We all know that the West Coast is basically the central hub for the United States when it comes to like esports and events and conventions and all that stuff. Like, being on the East Coast is cool, but it's like when you start to gravitate more towards that aspect of the entertainment industry, I suppose, it's really daunting to say, oh man, I really want to go to PAX and like all the other stuff, all those other conventions that they have. But it's like, yeah, but I can't get time off of work and pay to stay in a hotel and pay to fly out there because the ticket's like a two-way ticket's like, depending on when you book, it's like $400 to $600, all that. So, I mean, it's going to allow me, to start attending some of these events, start networking, rubbing some elbows, the whole deal. Basically, just looking to take my grind to the next level. So, I think that's pretty much it. I know, kind of an abrupt end, but that's just what's going on with me. And again, I thank you all for your support. And did I wear this shirt in the last update video? I think that maybe I just have a tendency to wear this shirt when I'm in an update video mood. But again, this is info I wanted to share with everybody before I take my vacation, and hopefully I'll be able to get a few of those. Again, the Duelist 101 series produced. I'm going to have an intro video, turn 1 plays, turn 2 plays, maybe like a matchup crash course video for each general / faction or whatever. And so that'll be a nice start to the series, just to give new players a leg up. So I look forward to hearing what you think. I look forward to seeing you next time. You have a good one.